not come to UWC. No. I don't know who this video is directed to. People who are in UWCs and just want to relate, people who just want anything UWC related, people who have gotten into UWC, maybe UWC that they don't necessarily, it wasn't their first choice. And this is my persuasion to see if you're still willing to come after all this, or if it sounds good to you. Yeah, sure, you might be the perfect UWC student, so let's get into it. Okay, first off, if you're somebody who needs to be alone sometimes or a lot of the time, that can be hard at UWC. Like, there's certain places where, like, it's just really difficult to get, like, a space where you can be alone. Like, for example, yeah, there's your room, but you also have roommates, and sometimes you might have one, sometimes you might have more than one. You can get into the practice of asking them, hey, can I have the room? But also, if you're not comfortable with doing that, then you might not be comfortable with just, like, having a space to be alone with in general, because, I mean, obviously, yeah, you can ask people to leave you alone, but then what happens in my experiences when I needed to be alone is that I would distance myself, and then I would not have the time to be able to think alone like I needed, and I would just end up feeling lonely, and that can be a hard experience. But I definitely don't think that solely will stop you from having a good time at UWC. I'd just like to warn you, if you do care about your grades, like a very, very large amount, UWC Costa Rica specifically, girl. Okay, so for context, before this, I was going to do the IB anyway. So at my school was like kind of tailoring classes towards that. Like our math class was literally based on the MYP yearbook, like things like that, right? So basically we were really being prepared for the IB. We were doing like mini IAs, mini EEs. However, when I got to do the IB, I was still suffering. I was still like struggling. And I don't think it's just because it was the IB. I think it was just this context of UWC, and the academics can be a bit more independent. So if you're someone who prioritizes academics and like has your specific set of studying, while that could be helpful in some cases, I feel like here, low-key, be ready to change how you study, be ready to change how you approach learning. But mostly, it's okay if your grades aren't that good, or aren't as great as that like you'd like them to be, because like at the end of the day, you're still gonna go somewhere, you're gonna do something, and what you get in the IB really does not define you, especially if you're at a UWC. Like, what? But then again, if you really, really prioritize academics and you really need to get that 45, or like you're okay with your home system or whatever, it might be hard to focus on academics without sacrificing your social life or without sacrificing something else. That's just something I would say. But if you're also really smart, then like, girl, don't even worry. But if you need to study, like some people, so if you suffer from FOMO, that might not be the best option for you, because honestly, you miss a lot of things here. Like, whoa, even if you don't want to, I'm never filming outside again. Even if you don't want to, you end up missing a lot of things, or you end up losing a lot of opportunities. And I think part of the UWC experience is being okay with losing that. So if you experience like a lot of things like that, then I think maybe be prepared to not go to everything. Be prepared to not do absolutely everything. Be prepared to not be active in every single area. Like, I think from my experience at least, I tried for Stuco, I tried for RA, I tried for so many things, I ended up not getting it. But like, you will fall into leadership roles if you want that. You will do things if you want to, but like, if your friends go to hang out and you need to recharge, that's fine. If you need to do like your friends are doing this but you want to recharge, that's okay. But if you are stressed that you're missing out, or like, and if you can't get used to that stress, that might be a problem. If you're someone who needs a big school, Costa Rica specifically is not a big school, but basically any school with around 200 to 300 people, that might be difficult because you know everybody knows you, and word gets around fast. Okay. And though that might not be like an issue for some people, if you're someone who like, you like having that security that nobody knows you, that's not a thing here. And that can be a thing, but only if you're really antisocial is not the right word. If you don't participate in as many activities, which is also okay, but in most cases, people will still know you. Like, you still have people in your residence, you still have people everywhere, and they know people. Basically, you know the 7 connection thing? Basically, it's like 1 connection max. Like, people know people. And also the size of the school isn't that big. Like, in first year I thought it was huge, but now that I've been here for so long, I'm like, wow. 2 years is kind of long to spend in this location. But also, I think it's completely fine. You can leave campus, it's not like you're stuck, so. Be careful with this one, because I thought I was ready to move out at 16. and then you realize you're coming home, but like you're never actually gonna live there anymore. Like, damn. And that's completely fine. Like, okay, it's not that bad. Like, yeah, sure, you're gonna move out eventually, and if that doesn't bother you, and if home is somewhere that you want to leave, sounds great. But if you have a really nice place to stay, if you have a really nice support system, and if you just really like your house, even like if you like your bed, these things might cause a little difference at UWC. Because for me personally, I didn't realize that I was moving out, and the reason I applied to UWC was because my mom was moving in the middle of my IBDP career. So I was like, you know what? No. That was like one of the main reasons that I started looking at UWCs and applying. And it just kind of hit me that, yeah, I'm moving out, basically. Sure, my stuff is here. Sure, I'm like not financially independent. I don't have expectation to do that. But you're never gonna go back to what you had. And that's okay. But if that's a deal breaker, then again, consider. I've noticed that a lot of these things mean that you will change. And if you're not okay with changing, you might not be okay with UWC, because at UWC, that's one of the main things that happens involuntarily. Sure, some people come out exactly like how they were, but chances are that you are gonna grow. Like, at least you're gonna grow physically. There's some things that you will change about yourself. Well, you're not gonna be like a naive 16 or 17 or 18-year-old, or what age you come here. You're not gonna be somebody new either. And I don't want to like make the expectations that you're going to become a different person as soon as you set foot to UWC. You're going to be so motivated, strong, and independent. No, life is just life wherever you go. But this life will change in ways that you might not expect. And that's what I'm saying you should maybe be aware about. These are some of the challenges that you can face, and I wanted to present some of the disadvantages that you can have at UWC. Another thing I actually didn't talk about was the fact that I lost my hobbies. I lost my sense of self. And that pushed me to develop new hobbies and become a new person. So, honestly, even if you change for the worse, I would still do it, personally. I think there's so many opportunities and so many things to learn that are invaluable that I genuinely don't think that there's a person that should not come to UWC were they given the chance. But yeah. Oh, in my famous era.